I recently received a question about what do you put on your garden? What kind of fertilizers, what kind of nutrients are you putting on your garden beds? And that's what we're going to cover in today's episode. When I first got started out in farming, I was blown away by how people farmed. You know, the fact that people were using leftover bomb agents for NPK fertilizers, the fact that we were spraying pesticides and herbicides because the farming wasn't really adhering to nature and you're having to fight, and it was all this like sterilization and the same model that we see in the typical medical model. You know, wow. It really blew me away. However, I knew inside that there was other solutions. As I traveled the world, as I brought you guys the 4 missing food groups, as I started to check out farms and started seeing people that grew things that didn't have all the stuff that was here in the United States, I started tapping into something that really shook me to my core, shook me to my bones, and really is what led to this current farm model. And that was farming in a different way. That was farming in a way that worked as biomimicry. Like, how is nature? Let me just give you guys an example. So back here is a bunch of forested area, right? There's so much diversity there. There's so much going on in there, but there's literally nothing being cultivated back there. That's just nature doing its thing. So how can we mimic that into these garden beds right here, right? And how can we work with nature instead of working against nature? And how can we be a producer and not a consumer? And how can we remediate all the toxicity, all the sprays in the air? We're in a totally different ecosystem now than we've ever been in. So not only do we need to remineralize the soil, we need to remediate the soils. And how do we do all this? Well, the beautiful thing about nature is it's got it figured out. And all we have to do is adhere to it. So at Crucial 4 Farms, the main thing that we do is we implement permaculture practices to help hold and retain a topsoil, while at the same time bringing in indigenous microbes from back here and minerals. And that's literally it, guys. Once we have done that, we've brought in a little bit of compost to get started, and we're growing food. All these beds that have all these different white covers. It's pretty chilly out today. It's around 32 degrees. But all these beds out here that you see that are covered up, these all have living plants inside of them, and they are thriving. And they're thriving just as good as this cover crop's thriving right here. You see that nice lush green cover crop, and it's 32 degrees. Why isn't that stuff frozen, Charles? It got down to 28 degrees last night. How is it still alive? Well, it's because we're bringing in indigenous microorganisms from the forest area. I'm cultivating those and culturing those and expanding those out through potatoes that I grow on the property. I'm then taking leftover crop residues. I'm adding them all to this bucket, and I'm actually gonna, you guys come with me right quick. I'll actually show you that bucket, and I'm actually spraying that on this land, on everything, on this property around 3 times a week. Now that's a lot. Most people, when they do compost teas and sprays, they might do it once a month to once a week. I'm doing this 3 times a week, guys. And the reason I'm doing that is because my soil is not the best ever. This is, you know, clay, and clay doesn't have a lot of loam, it doesn't drain well. So I'm having to do all types of different methods. So when someone asked me, what do you put on your garden beds? It was more of a question that, you know, in the response, I needed to be more direct on, well, it's more than just what we put on, it's how we build things and it's how we cultivate things. But just to kind of show you guys this bucket right here, and maybe you guys can see that foam and those bubbles on there a little bit there, and maybe I can get a better shot, we can get that clipped in. That is something that is basically a combination, that's a combination of the indigenous microbes, potatoes, and salt, and then wild grasses and debris. And 3 times a week, I brew that up. I got a little heat pad down here. I'm able to heat that up inside my barn here because it's cold at night, and then that bubbles up, and those microbes start digesting all those minerals. They start eating all those carbohydrates from those potatoes, and then I spray that out on my field. And that is the key to Crucial 4 Farms. That is exactly what we do. We're not putting any type of NPK fertilizers. I'm not buying any inputs at all. The only input I am buying, obviously, is the salt. If I wanted to, though, if I was near the ocean, I could just grab that salt. I'm able to grow those potatoes, all the leftover stuff, the debris, all that stuff is coming right here on the property. So my cost to make this And this is a 56-gallon trash can barrel of microbes. My cost of that is nothing compared to what an organic farmer would have to purchase microbes from some type of microbe manufacturer, some type of nutrient company, right? So they would have to spend a ton of money to get that a volume of microbes, and then they're gonna wanna like space that out. You see, it's expensive to farm organically, but when you work with nature, and you start to understand how minerals work, how fungi work, how the soil food web works, which is exactly like our belly works right down here, right? It all comes together. It's beautiful. And you get remediation, you get fertility, you get all the things you need to grow the healthiest, most nutrient-dense food in the world. You know, we are on the cusp of these trajectories, right? Where the world, we're headed in a negative way. But I want everyone to know that over here, that we're turning these trajectories. Trajectories aren't solid, they're just where we're headed. And we took a complete 180 over here. And that's why we're gonna expand this model out. Why would I ever wanna franchise this? That's so much work. I've already really got it made. I have a beautiful life with Crucial 4. You guys have supported us. I could sit here, I could keep traveling and do that stuff. But you know, I've just had some come to Jesus moments, and I feel like God put me here to serve. And the next level of that service is this right here, producing foods that are remineralized. And we're actually gonna be able to take a spectrometer, and it's gonna get installed inside anyone's smartphone, a little app you can buy. And it's a device that you can actually scan our food, take a picture of it, and not only our food, but any food you eat, and you can actually see the mineral density of it. So we're not here to tell you that, oh, we're on our high horse and what we do is better. We're gonna prove it to you guys and show you with technology, basic technology that you'll have right there in the palm of your hand. And this is so exciting because in the day and age now where we have so many people marketing to us and telling us this and telling us that, it's kind of like, oh man, can we really tell? And we can't really tell. But when we can use devices like what I'm talking about, when we can actually start to implement the things that we're all wanting to see on a broad scale, then we can not only get access to what we want, but we can also see the proof in the pudding, so to speak, right? So I'm super excited to shoot this video, you know, because I truly do believe in the power of food as medicine. But I also know that a lot of the food being produced nowadays is not medicinal at all. And it's gotten to the point to where we're losing so many minerals in our food, but we're here to change that at Crucial 4. So I know it's kind of a simple, but yet long-winded answer, but I really wanted to touch on the topics I touched about because it's all coming from my heart. You know, I'm not scripting any of this. I'm just shooting these videos and going. So if you lasted this long, thank you so much. I hope this answered the question to the few people that keep asking me, well, what are you putting on your soil? How are you getting your ashwagandha roots so big? How did you get your holy basil to grow like that? How are you only been out there for 8 months and you've got tons of lettuce and onions and garlic growing? This is how, guys, and I'm so excited to share it with you and open source this information. And if you're interested in becoming part of the Crucial 4 Farm team, we're really excited to team up with you because we feel like this is a big step in the right direction, and we're gonna need a team. And we believe teamwork makes the dream work. And I hope this is a dream that many of you have, because I know if I'm having this dream, so are you. All right, signing off here, Crucial 4 founder Charles Barber. I'm super excited to be serving you guys this information. Leave comments below. Hey, please hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you so much.